Do you see good ethics and good business strategy as being, as being in tension, some kind of tension in new ways?
Well, they certainly can be. It's sort of we spend so much time talking about just getting the risks right and hedging in a short-term fashion. That's what hedge funds have been all about. It's the nature of the multinational corporation shareholders and maximizing profit for this quarter, not necessarily focusing on what's going to happen 2 and 5 years down the road. But of course, when you think about the implications of this bailout, and increasingly economists talking about the possibility of a treasuries bubble, like the internet bubble, where we're actually engaging in short-term spending that is of massive amounts, but that the United States may not be able to pay off, and it's going to be increasingly difficult to get international investment into the United States, the US dollar going away as a global currency. What does that mean ethically for the way we think about how the world is going to be managed or not? What is the move towards non-polarity as opposed to the unipolarity of the United States, a multipolarity that other states aren't prepared and can't step up towards? What does that mean for some of the major challenges to the world that we're sort of seeing on the horizon?
In fact, when you talk about the potential for a treasuries bubble, I mean, one way to look skeptically at what the government is doing is that they're responding to a crisis of too much debt, because that's what we're coming out of, a crisis of too much mortgage debt, too much credit card debt, all that stuff. We're responding to a crisis of debt with massive amounts of additional debt, except that it's government debt instead of private sector debt.
I agree with that completely, and I think what is concerning is that the environment that the United States has been in, which is one where, since it's the biggest game in town and everybody has a level of support for it, you can attract the Chinese to buy massive amounts of treasuries. You can attract the Gulf states to do the same. Everyone wants to buy into the US dollar. Now, they're still doing that right now, but do we really think it's feasible that that level of international attractiveness of the United States economy and the US dollar will maintain itself for the next 3, 5, 10 years? I'd be very skeptical about that. There hasn't been that much economic decoupling yet, because if the US sneezes, everyone catches a cold. But there's been a massive amount of political decoupling, where the Chinese, the Russians, the Gulf states increasingly don't want to listen to what the United States is saying about the way the global financial architecture should work. And that will eventually lead to different sorts of economic decisions.